Welcome to Rack of the Week 280. After a couple weeks of 9-ball, we're looking at a straight pool rack today. Take a look on the screen. For those of you who have my Ghost Align straight stroke trainer or are thinking about it, this is a prototype in the evolution of the design. I'm thinking about replacing the Ghost Align with this. It has an extra piece, a few extra pieces. It has an extension that you can attach if you want to see that green line sticking out much farther. If you get low on your cue, or there are other reasons where you might want to be able to see that green line farther when you're training your straight stroke. And then it has 3 inserts rather than a single one. The 2 extra inserts are narrower. The narrowest one is for a snooker cue. And then the middle sized one is for people who shoot with narrower pool shafts, like 11 3/4, 12 millimeter. It's going to be narrower for a little bit tighter fit on your shaft than the standard opening, which was about 14 millimeters. Let me know in the comments what you think of that. Is that a good improvement? I think I can offer it for the same price. Let me know what you think in the comment section. On the screen, you can see the names of my supporters on Patreon and YouTube. I want to say welcome to my newest supporters, Nanthan, Michael Roberts, and Mike Fields. And also welcome back to Doug Quora. So that's enough of the announcements. Let's get into the rack. This rack is starting out with a below the rack break shot. Got a real good angle on it. Going to hit that corner ball. Typically, you'd see me use a lot of high right and go to the rail and out. That's a really thick line. Let's make that smaller. But the cue ball didn't go anywhere.
I should have hit it harder. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, I said, I should have hit it harder. I didn't think about that. No, I was trying to hit it not as hard. I'm trying to shoot a little bit softer on my break shots and control the cue ball more. What I did was I didn't hit it with enough topspin to get the cue ball to come off the rack and go anywhere. So it kind of got stuck there. Now, I don't have a good combination here because the 7-5, I've got to cut the 7 left to cut the 5 to the right. It's hard. I've got a bank shot on the 15. Now, this rack is starting out tough. As you can see, I didn't open the balls well and I didn't control the ball well. I'm going to draw the cue ball on this bank shot. And see how the cue ball curved off of that bank shot and came to the rail? So I'm keeping the cue ball from scratching and keeping it out of the way of the bank shot. I was actually hoping I was going to get a shot on the 13 ball up here, but the cue ball came much farther. Now, this combination I don't mind because it's very close to straight. But I'm cutting the 5 to my right, and I'm cutting the right ball to my left. So the cue ball is going to go into the balls. I don't want to go really hard. I don't want the cue ball to come off and head towards the scratch or anything.
No, that didn't turn out the way I wanted.
Yeah, and that didn't turn out the way I wanted either. So I have a shot on the 13, but I'm elevated to the 14. It's a terrible shot. So this turned out terrible. And the reason why I'm showing this on a Rack of the Week, I'll pause this real quick. I've got to shoot this with a bridge. You're going to be looking at this and oh, man, I messed up the break shot, and then I had to shoot a bank shot, and now I don't have hardly any shot at all. You've got to stay positive in straight pull because it only takes one shot. All of a sudden, the rack is all laid out for you, and that's what you're going to see here. And that's the lesson that you got to have. The lesson of this week is positivity because you've got to have that attitude because so many racks in straight pool are going to look impossible. And that's the beautiful thing about it. Only takes one shot, sometimes 2 shots, and all of a sudden, not only does it look better, everything's laid out for you, and that's what we're going to see here in a second. So this looks terrible. I've got 2 balls tied up in exactly the wrong position in the worst part of the table. I've got 2 up table balls. I have only 1 shot, and that's on the 1 ball, and I've got to cut it into half a pocket past the 9. So things don't look good, right? Well, let's take a look at what happens. You can tell that the cue ball is going to hit the 14. And probably go this way and loosen these balls, but let's not get aggressive. Our goal here is to control the cue ball and make sure we pocket the 1. And we're going to have less of a chance of doing that if we try to blast these balls open. I'm probably going to have a shot on the 9, and I got the 7 sitting in front of the pocket. So as you can see, don't get crazy with blasting it. Things are going to work out. And this is an example. I want you to take a look and see if you can see it, because that was 1 shot. And all of a sudden, after 1 shot, the rack is completely perfect. It's all laid out for you. And I hope you can see the end pattern. There's multiple end patterns, of course. And some things aren't predictable. But here's the thing. You're thinking to yourself, but Bob, you don't have a break ball and these 2 balls are tied up. When you've shot enough racks, you start to see things as opportunities. So I've got a shot on the 3 ball up table, and that is the correct shot. I've got a slight angle on it, and I have a slight angle where my cue ball is going this way. So I'm going to bump the 8 ball over here. There's no way to not get a shot. I'm going to have a shot on the easy shot on the 9 or the 7 after that. Okay. So I'm almost done. What about these 2 balls that are tied up over here? Well, the cue ball might stop right about here, and I'll have an angle probably on the 9 where I can go up into those balls. Problem solved. Every ball's open. I'm going to clear the table and get on the brick shot. There's no reason to not be 100% positive on it, on that outcome from this point. If the cue ball had stopped slightly over to this side, then I cut the 3 ball up in the corner. My cue ball goes this way, and I bump the 4 ball into a brick shot position. And then I've got a shot on the 9 to open these. So there's other possibilities, and things can, once I open these balls, then I have to decide on a pattern to clear the remaining balls. So there's things that are going to happen that are going to require decision making. But you've got to see the table at this point and say, I did it, I've got this rack. Instead of saying, oh my goodness, what's my break ball? Oh my goodness, how am I going to open up these 2 balls on the rail? So that's a difference in perspective, and that's a positive attitude that you just have to have as a straight pool player. So I'm going to shoot this 3 ball. Let's get to it. And let's see what happens next, because I do make a decision here. That's a critical one. And I do have enough angle to bump the 8, so I want to hit the bottom of the 8 if I can. Okay, I might have wanted the 8 to go a little bit farther, and I hit that 3 ball roughly. It hit way below the pocket here to go in. But because I'm hitting it soft, I know it's going to go in. Now I'm looking at the 9, and I'm thinking, gee, I don't have a really steep angle on this 9. This is going to be hard. So I'm not going to open that cluster. Well, that's a big priority, Bob. Why aren't you opening that cluster? That's going to end your run, isn't it? No, because I already see the pattern, and I hope you see it. If I had more angle, I might go into this. But the question is this: where is the cue ball going to go after you hit those balls? You can end up hitting the 5 ball full. The 5 ball goes to the rail, and then the cue ball goes right behind it, and you're stuck behind the 5 ball with no shot. You probably want to go to the rail and then come into them. Then you're pushing the balls this way and this way with the cue ball staying here, and then you're likely to have a shot at one of these balls or this ball on the side. The problem is I don't have a very steep angle. There's another problem, and that's that although this 14 is an insurance ball, when I run into those, I don't have an insurance ball back down onto the same end of the table, which is what I would really like to have. And so when you shoot enough racks, you're going to start seeing these things. The 8 ball is the breakout ball, because you shoot the 9 to get an angle on the 7 to come up here, stay below the shot line on the 8, and open these up. And the reason why you choose that is then the 6 ball back this way is your insurance ball, among others. So that it requires a little bit of vision, because you're seeing this ball as a future shot, even though it's not available. You've got to clear this ball to be able to play position on it, and you got to clear this ball to unblock this pocket. So it's kind of it's a mindset, and it goes hand in hand with that positivity that I was talking about. You've got to see opportunities that will exist in the future that don't exist now. And it just comes with shooting a lot of straight pool racks. So again, I'm not concerned about, gee, am I going to be able to open these balls? I look at this and see, oh, I have the perfect situation to open these balls. How fortunate that I've got this, and there's no way I'm not going to clear this rack now. So I follow to the rail and down to make sure I get this angle. Before I shoot this, I'm going to talk about this. I take a quick look at it. How are you going to shoot the 7? Okay, here's the shot line to the pocket. So you need your cue ball to land below this. So we're looking at a position triangle like this. That's our triangle, right? We want to get the cue ball in that area. What a lot of people might want to do, and what I've done in the past, is shoot low on the cue ball. Just try and change the angle of the cue ball and stun it up this way. Well, you're actually playing to a very small portion of that triangle, which is also giving you a shallow angle on the 8 ball if you do that. And if you mishit it, you can end up very straight in, or you can end up right over here and really close to the rail. Now you're elevated over the rail to try and shoot the 8 to open up these balls. The right way to shoot this, I want to leave the shot triangle up there, is to roll the cue ball forward so it goes this way to the rail, and left spin opens the angle. Now you're coming across the heart of the position triangle, and you've got a wider zone. I'm filling in the screen with yellow, but I think you see the idea. So you're coming towards the wider part of that position zone. So watch this. Just a hair above center, so it goes straight to the rail, and then just let the left spin open up. All I've got to do is peek out past the 8-ball, and I've got a great angle to run into these two balls. Now, I think I'm trying to go to the rail first. I don't remember if I do that or not. Let's take a look. The rail behind that 5. Yeah, the rail behind the 5. Now, that didn't quite go the way I wanted, because I would prefer to have hit both balls. Because if I hit both balls, then the 5 doesn't go as far. Maybe it stops here, and then the 11 ball goes this way. Now I've got these two balls working as a pair. I can play position from either one to the other, and that's what I was hoping for. Didn't get that. And that's what I mentioned earlier. The balls aren't always going to go where you want, so you've got to be ready to make a new decision and make a new plan. But what I do like is that I have position on the 6 ball as an insurance ball now, even though I've got an easy shot on the 13 and the 14 in the side. Why is that important? It's because the 6 is not a good key ball. The only way that's a key ball, well, there's two ways. You can get a shallow angle and slide up, or you can get almost straight and follow 2 rails out of the corner to get on the 8-ball break shot. But I don't have a key ball really to do any of those things. You could say, oh, you got the 11 ball. Well, that 11 is close to the side pocket. It's on the rail. So why doesn't that work out? The reason is I have to shoot. I would want to shoot the 13 last and get a shallow angle on it so I can get a shallow angle on the 11 to land perfect on the 6. Well, that means I got to shoot these 3 balls. So now I'm shooting 14, 5, and now I've got to shoot this ball, the 5, to get position on the stripe to come over here and get position on this. So I have to get position correct multiple times in order to have just a chance at getting position correct on my key ball. So you're just adding a lot of complexity to it. So you've got to look at the pattern that you're running these in. And I decide there's a couple ways to do it, because you can go 6, then 13, then 10, 5, and the 5 you come back across table. And then you can shoot the 11, and you've got a bigger position zone to come down here. It's because the 14 is close to the pocket. It's an easy key ball. You don't, usually I say, go diagonal from your key ball pocket and to find your K2. Well, we don't have that, but the 11 can function because you can just roll forward, and that's better than going from the 11 to the 6 to end the rack. But I decide that's a lot of travel, and I've got to get right on this stripe in order to get right on the 5, in order to get the speed right to come across here. So a lot of things got to go right again. So what I decide is that the 11 ball's got to go early. Now, and that 11 is in the classic trouble spot. That's like on the rail close to the side pocket is the worst place on the table for an object ball. So I've got a key ball right now to get rid of that ball. And what I decide is that from there, I can go from the 11 to either the 12 or the 5, and I can go from either the 12 or the 5 back down here. I have a ginormous, massive position zone for that 14 in the side. And it's the 14 is below the side pocket, which means you don't have to get straight in. You can be on this side of the 14, and then you go to the rail with inside English and come out to land on your break shot. So that's the reason why. I hope that made sense. I stood here and evaluated like 3 or 4 patterns, but the key to realize here is that I've got a key ball in the 13 to get on the 11, which is the worst ball on the table. So don't rely on that. If you have to, you can, but I felt it was much easier to use the 13 to get rid of the 11. I'm reducing the risk, and then the position is easy because you shoot the 6, and the cue ball naturally goes straight at the 13, and then you don't have to do anything from the 13, and you're on the 11. So very predictable, controllable cue ball routes. I'm not traveling a lot of rails. I don't have to get a lot of speed right. It's just really natural. And I think that's what's important because now I only have to shoot one shot where I have to play position from either this ball or this ball to get down for the 14 in the side, rather than having to play 3 or 4 or 5 shots correctly. So it's all a vision, being able to see farther into the rack. Train yourself to kind of take your time and look at the possibilities and see farther into the rack and see what's going to be available. See, because of the 13, I now have a non-missable shot on the 11. But if I would have played a different pattern, I might not have been that close to the 11 or that straight. It'd be a much tougher shot. So because of this angle, I'm going to come over for the 5. How often can that go wrong? Not much. I've got a huge position zone for that 5 ball as well. So now I'm taking a look. I can tap in the 5. So again, controllable cue ball. I'm not doing anything special with the cue ball. How hard was that, right? Now I have one shot that I have to play a little bit of position on. I can either go to the rail and down, or I can just stun down. I think going to the rail and down is the best. I already talked about the fact that it's better to land a little bit above this 14, so you don't have to draw the cue ball to get on your break shot. And I didn't do that. I came a little bit too far, so I do have to draw the ball. But I hope you can see the value in studying that. And the end pattern that I chose is the one that had the least amount of rails traveled and movement of the cue ball. That's how you're going to get on your break ball. And then the other important thing was that, remember, the beginning of the rack was super tough. All the balls were clustered. I had 2 balls tied up on the rail. It only takes one shot and some vision to see the rest of the rack, even though I had to make a break ball and open a cluster. Now this one, I'm also experimenting with hitting this less hard. In the past, I would hit this with top left and turn that cue ball out of the corner to center table, but I'm not doing that. You see that? I'm going ahead and just relying on a little bit of good fortune, hopefully, to get a shot below the rack. Sometimes they're going to tie up and you're not going to have that shot, but sometimes you'll also get one of these balls in the side pocket. As it is, I've got a shot on this stripe, and this combination is easy. And then look at the rack. You don't, this is old school straight pool. You do not need to blast these balls apart, because I'm going to be able to, I'm not sure what I'll do, but probably shoot this ball, get an angle on the stripe to come up here. Then the 2 ball sets you up for one of these to run into those. Actually, yeah. Well, yeah, that's actually not bad. And I think that's what I do. And let me revise that, because if you go this ball, this ball, this one, you want to shoot the 3. The reason is you can tap the 13 over here into break shot position. The cue ball goes this way, and you have the 7. There is that's an insurance ball. And it's not insurance. You absolutely, positively, beyond any shadow of a doubt, will have a shot on the 7. So the mentality is, I'm not trying to blast these balls open. Once all of these balls are gone, notice perimeter to access the center, and the 13 is moved over here. Now I've got a shot on the 7. Now I can play position over here for the 6, come over here, tap the 4, have the 11, and I've just tapped balls, 1 or 2 balls gently, and all the rest of the balls are open. I'll have a shot on the 14 in the side. So again, it's being more patient and having more of a vision deeper into the rack. So I hope that makes sense there as well. The next 2 weeks are going to be 9 ball on the rack of the week, and I'm going to do them early because I'm kind of taking a vacation for August, and that wraps up on the last week of August, where I'm going to Dallas for the U.S. Open as a spectator. Hope you like that. Stay tuned for some 9 ball in the coming weeks, and then we'll get back to straight pool with more intensity in September. Stay tuned for next week, Rack of the Week, and play it straight. See you later. Bye.